Okay, so here's where the conversation really started to gain some traction when we talked about why we don't have more men going into education. And I feel like we got some really good feedback. And I actually learned a couple of things that I didn't know before.
Absolutely. We are pretty important in this educational field.
I'm not saying you're not important. I'm just saying I learned something new.
Right. If you just listen to us, you'll always learn something. Check out this segment.
Why is it our men are not going straight into education? Why is it we have to kind of go all the way around the world before it kind of brings us back? So what is it we can do? So it's twofold. What is it we can do, and or why is it our men are not choosing education as an option? A first option, not a around the corner, but that's what I want to do.
I'm gonna take a different route to that question. It's a risk now.
Okay.
It's a risk in so many ways now. The way education is designed, the way kids are being raised now, and with all the
All right, welcome back to Cooking and Conversations. Before we took a break, we left off talking about the question that my partner here posed about why are men not going straight into the field. We had some great responses to that. We can just kind of pick up at that point.
Yeah, so, as you guys were talking, I began to think about some of the reasons why it took me so long to get where I wanted to go. I was one of those students who I could do the work, but I didn't know or believe I was capable of doing it. I just kind of skated through, or I was the kid trying to fit in because I wasn't getting that validation at home, so I was outsourcing it. So I didn't really grasp the concept of education or applying myself until I was my junior year, and I graduated on time, but I graduated with like a 1.7 GPA. Wow. So I didn't even really believe that I could even. I didn't even think I was going to college, for that matter. So I was just trying to. I just really took a leap of faith, and said I'm gonna apply, and whatever happens, happens. And just so happens, the first college I applied to, which is Benedict College, I got a letter back saying they accepted, and that's my opportunity. I'm going. We made it. I'm here. Let's do what I can. I did what I had to do when I went there, and I graduated Benedict with a 2.89. So it wasn't so much that I couldn't do it. I just didn't have. I didn't know. I didn't have anybody telling me.
That's it.
You can do it. Well, I had people telling me, but they weren't, they weren't immediate family. So, and my grandma, God bless her, she did what she could.
Right.
She was the primary. She was the sole. She making all the money in the house, so she just worked. We kind of raised ourselves, me and my brothers. Right. So for me, it was just a matter of just building that confidence, and the more I accomplished, the more I believe like I can really do this. I knew I wanted to be a teacher. I knew what I wanted to do, but it's a matter of how can I get there. So I was hired as a paraprofessional. I was given the opportunity to be probably 2 years after I graduated from Benedict, and even then, I was in there. I did what I could, but I still was struggling with that. Dang, am I good enough to even do this lead teacher thing?
Right.
Wow.
So that was one of my reasons, and now I had to mature a lot. I had to mature and go through some things. I believe God was taking me through to kind of prepare me for where I'm, this season of my life now. So here I am now, willing to take on the responsibility and everything that comes with being a teacher as a man in education. Because I've been through some things as a man in education, not in this position, but I went through it was some ups and downs that could have possibly ended my career.
Right.
But through the grace of God, I think all those things happen the way they happen to get me to where I am now, so I can know how important it is, especially for black men in education, that your image is everything. How you carry yourself is everything. We are probably the most important pieces. Not disregarding women in education, but like the influence that we have in our community, in our homes, is it's big.
Right.
And if we don't take responsibility as men in general, then our community is going to continue to go where it's going. So
You better preach, young sir.
I'm glad you said that, and it kind of ties back to what you're talking about and what these guys were talking about as far as the danger of getting in and why we don't go directly into it like that. So my question is to you guys is, what do you believe the expectation is of the male in education versus the female? What is it we are supposed to do or we are expected to do once we arrive on set?
So, me probably being the least experienced among this group, I would say just being a student, a former student, and now being in the position, we are as men, we are just expected to, we're expected to be the boogie monster, right? The boogeyman, put that gavel down on them, to be hard, to bring that pain down on young kids that that don't do right or they're not doing what they're supposed to do. That's what mainly, especially the generation because I graduated 07. So that generation of leadership that we had, if you was a man, male principal, you weren't playing no game with us. That's just what it was.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's a little different now, but I grew up under that leadership where they just didn't play. You out of there. You did something you got no business, you continue out of there. So I think in education, men, we are expected to be, at that time, we were expected to be like, this, hard, hardcore disciplinary. But now it's on the other end of other side of the spectrum, where we expect to be this loving and kind, oh, come in, let me love on you, or everything's gonna be all right. But I think they also forget that a lot of us are still men, right? So we have two extremes where, they want us to be boogeyman, but then they also want us to be this loving, caregiver, but I believe we're supposed to be in the middle. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like it's supposed to be a balance of
there has to be a balance
of it all.
Of that. You're exactly right.
Because innately a man garners respect. It's in it. He has to be respected, And me being in education, and we run into kids, even problem kids. What I usually do, I say, come on, man, come on. Let me talk to you. That's why I start. To try to appeal to his sense. I said, look, man, come on now. Yeah, what's the problem? And then you have some that will receive it. Then you have some who will cut your hands off when you try to reach it. That's right. So, but you got to be able to, like you say, balance that. Because eventually that same kid, because I had a kid here recently, would never take his hood off. Yeah. And they always tell you can't wear hoods in school. You see what I'm saying? Right. He's a pretty big kid, and we found out his background. He done jumped on his father and things of this nature. Wow. And so I pulled him aside, and he was, he got real tough. And one day I was proctoring the test, and he was in there. So I had the opportunity. I had him by himself, and I can talk to him. Now when I see the kid, I said, Mr. Mullins, get your hood off. I said, you have a great day, Mr. Mullins. He said, you too, Mr. Jackson. So I had a chance to have him come to Jesus with it. I thought come to Jesus meeting and let him know what the expectations are. Once you're a young black male, these are expectations that they expect out of us. I say, because you represent me. That's what I tell her. You represent me. No matter where you go, you're still a representation of me. So,
to kind of merge our first question, what we opened up with, and what we're talking about right now, I think the reason why recruitment and retention and expectations of a man in education, I believe it is all intertwined. I'll give you a quick story. I recall teaching a sophomore level course at the university where I work, and I had a ex-military guy. He walked in and he said to me, Doc, After I get that, pass my case, after I get the teaching license, I'm gonna go, my first day in, going straight to the principal, I'm gonna tell him how we're gonna fix this. Since this is a family show, I'll tell you exactly what I said to him. But it went along with this. The principal's gonna tell you to go grab a seat and go somewhere and sit down. And so, and this whole week leading up to today, I've been thinking about education and some of the issues. And I think what it is, and I don't want to generalize, but I'll say this. As men, I'm going to speak for myself. I'm a problem solver. If a woman comes to me and says, hey, listen, sweetheart, I have this and this problem, I feel like it is my duty to try to find that solution to the problem. The problem that I have with education in 2019 is that we're not in the business of solving problems. We're in the business of treating symptoms. And so that's the issue with education, and that's what leads into recruitment issues. Because truly, give you an example. If I was working in corporate America, I can tell you right now, they come and say, hey, sir, here's the project. The expectation is going to get done. Whatever the issue is, it's going to be fixed, and we're going to move on. With education, then addressing the true issues, which I believe is home, which I believe is failed policies that are created by individuals who are not educators, who are politicians, and who are running on our records. At the end of the day, it's difficult. If I were 21, 22, 23, I would not go into a field like that. I would choose something else. And so I truly believe if we had politicians and stakeholders that were strong enough to say, you know what, it's time out for this BS right here. We're going to do this, this, and this. We're going to fix this problem. I can almost assure you more people will say, you know what, I'm going to go into education. Why not? If I was in Washington, D.C. recently, and a girlfriend of mine said, yeah, I left the county, down here and got up there and made $40,000 more. If they were paying down here what they're paying in D.C., which is about 120, with a bachelor's degree and 10 years of experience, because that's all they're going to give you. Even if you have 15, they give you 10. I think you'll see more people going into the field, and knowing that, number one, I have administrators that have my back. The school system has my back. Because I said it to a student the other day. I said, listen, just go down to central office. Just go down there, have your parents start screaming. They'll cave. They'll give you whatever you want. And it's the truth. I mean, they don't have a backbone. They don't. Which is different than what I'm accustomed to. Because where I started in Florida, you can come in screaming, have your lawyer, your advocate, and everything else. They're just going to look at you with a straight face and say no.
Right.
It's not like that here, and it needs to be.
Okay. And I kind of think I know what you're going to say. So before you say it, because I want to use you to stir the pot a little bit.
Okay.
I think we should take another break. We'll be back with more Cooking and Conversations.